What's going on, guys? C-Limits here, delivering you the military hacks. Has there ever been an instance in your life where you were given an interest rate that just didn't sit right with your soul on one of your major purchases? So story time. I was at McDonald's, 19 years old, flipping the burgers, the only guy that was the Burger King at McDonald's.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now.
And I had a bright idea that I wanted to get a car, but not just any car. I wanted to get a new car. So I went and got a car. Interest rate was 14%, making the monthly payment $477. So it was nothing I could do at the time because I was so young, I didn't have any credit. So I had to get a cosigner. But even with a cosigner, I still had to pay that large payment. And we all know, working at McDonald's, your check is not that high. So long story short, I wasn't able to pay the big car note and I had to get another job, join the Navy, and get rid of the car. But it happens to a lot of people, not just me, not just you. It happens to multiple people. When you're young and you don't have established credit, you oftentimes get taken advantage of, and that can come with high interest rates. Whether it be car note, mortgage, credit cards, or the infamous student loans, sometimes those interest rates can be sky high, but there is a solution to that. You want to know how? I'm glad you asked. The Servicemember Civil Relief Act, or SCRA, limits the amount of interest that can be charged on certain financial obligations that were incurred prior to military service, not to exceed 6%. These are for credit cards, mortgages, student loans, vehicles, and more. To get these interest rates reduced, a service member must provide the creditor with a written notice and a copy of the military orders. Now, if we examine student loans, which from 2006 to 2021, the average federal student loan rates were 4.66% and 6.22% for undergraduate and graduate loans, respectively. However, your rate may be well outside this range depending on the type of loan you take out, including federal and private student loans, as well as whether you had a cosigner. While federal student loan rates are standardized to all borrowers on a specific type of loan, the range of private student loan rates is much wider. Here's a look at some statistics on average private student loans for undergraduates. So let's examine car loans. There's no doubt that buying a car is expensive. The average price of a new car is more than $36,000 and a used car costs more than $20,000 on average. However, for many buyers, a car's price doesn't tell the entire story about what it costs to buy it. Because most people take out a loan to buy a car, the interest rate on their auto loan drives the final cost of the car up. Using the average interest rates for most people with top-notch credit to poor credit, the interest rate can range anywhere from 6.33% all the way up to 17.66%. So let's equate this. This can equate to as little as $6,396 for excellent credit, or as much as $19,374 for poor credit, paid in interest of a potential loan of 5 years for a car with a loan amount of $36,000 with no down payment. And lastly, we'll examine credit cards, which on average have an annual percentage rate that is equal to 18.32%, and the average percentage yield among student credit cards has increased year over year from 15.38% to 16.33%. The SCRA also covers rental agreements, security deposits, evictions, foreclosures, auto leases, and life insurance. So for residential leases, if a service member pays monthly rent once he or she gives proper notice and a copy of his or her military orders, then the lease will terminate 30 days after the next rent payment is due. To terminate a residential lease, the service member must submit a written notice and a copy of his or her military orders and letter from the commanding officer by certain methods to the landlord or landlord's agent. The SCRA also does this for auto lease termination. It allows for termination of a car or truck lease if called to active duty for 180 days or more after signing the lease. This also applies to permanent change of station or deployment orders outside of the U.S. as well. Not to mention, it protects against installment contracts and repossessions. The SCRA states that a creditor may not repossess a vehicle during a borrower's period of military service without a court order if the service member borrower either placed a deposit for the vehicle or made at least one installment payment on the contract before entering military service. It is important that prior to joining the military, a person is aware of all the debt they are in and the interest rate just to get the most out of this benefit. Hopefully this information helps you. If anybody has any other programs that they would like us to know, just put them in the comment section. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and as always, stay tuned for some more military hacks.